guys know now who won.
Okay.
Drum roll.
Okay.
And the winner is Caitlin Clark.
Caitlin Clark has been shaking up the basketball world like no one else, going from college legend to pro icon in the blink of an eye. The Indiana Fever's young superstar, with her insane talent, fiery passion, and fearless leadership, became a national sensation almost overnight. After breaking records at Iowa, she joined the WNBA and instantly became the face of the Fever. Her rookie year was pure electricity, and by year 2, she wasn't just keeping up, she was dominating. July 2025 proved that when Caitlin walked away with one of the sport's biggest honors, WNBA Player of the Year at the ESPYs, beating out heavyweights like Breanna Stewart, Aja Wilson, and Nafiessa Collier, names that had ruled the league for years. It was a huge statement. Fans were hyped, teammates were proud, and everyone believed it was only the start of a legendary run. But just as things were peaking, disaster struck out of nowhere. In a heated game against the Connecticut Sun, Clark suddenly looked off, grimacing in pain, and late in the game she aggravated a groin injury she had secretly been fighting through for weeks. Cameras caught her limping and clutching her side, and the entire arena went silent as fans held their breath, wondering if the Fever's golden star was about to fall. Coach Stephanie White tried to calm fears, promising Clark would be evaluated. But hope quickly turned into heartbreak. Just days after being celebrated as WNBA Player of the Year, Caitlin dropped shocking news on July 17th. She was out for the entire 2025 WNBA All-Star Weekend. That meant no All-Star game, no three-point contest, and worst of all, both events were set to take place in her home arena in Indianapolis. Fans were crushed, as this was supposed to be her moment to own the spotlight in front of her city. Clark went online to pour her heart out, admitting she was sad and disappointed, but that her health had to come first, even posting a heartfelt message with broken heart emojis to show just how much it hurt to step back.
Sure will be a big first step for me, but it's just one step for the WNBA. Thanks to all the great players like Cheryl Swoops, Lisa Leslie, Cynthia Cooper, the great Dawn Staley, and my best.
Still, in true leader fashion, Caitlin promised to show up and cheer on her teammates from the sidelines, showing real maturity by choosing long-term health over short-term glory. But the WNBA still had a gap to fill for the three-point contest. And they didn't have to look far. Lexy Hull, Caitlin's own Fever teammate, got the call. She'd been on fire all season, especially from deep, and this was her moment to step up and shine. Lexy had been a silent assassin all year with one of the league's best three-point percentages, making her the perfect choice to fill Caitlin's spot. She might not have grabbed headlines like Clark, but real hoop fans and coaches knew her value. This woman could flat out shoot. Her focus, discipline, and deadly accuracy had quietly made her one of the Fever's most reliable weapons. Now, stepping in for Clark on such a massive stage wasn't just an honor, it was a huge responsibility. The whole league, plus thousands of new fans, would be watching, especially with the event happening in her home city of Indianapolis. And Lexy was ready. This was her chance to not only represent the Fever, but also honor her injured teammate, while showing the world exactly what she could do under pressure. But behind all the excitement was heartbreak. Just days before being named Clark's replacement, Lexy suffered a devastating loss. Her beloved dog Maggie, who had been by her side for 14 years, passed away. She posted black and white photos of their moments together and wrote a touching tribute online, calling Maggie the sweetest Mags and admitting home would never feel the same without her. The raw emotion hit fans hard, and suddenly her all-star moment carried even more weight, fueled by pain, pride, and purpose. When All-Star Saturday finally arrived, all eyes were locked on Lexy Hull. Could she handle the pressure? The lights were blinding, the crowd deafening, and social media was buzzing non-stop. This wasn't just another shoot-around, this was Lexy's audition for superstardom.
This is wild. WNBA All-Star Weekend. It's supposed to be the star of all stars. All the big dogs is out. Aja Wilson, Sabrina Ionescu, Breanna Stewart, everybody's out. The big dogs are out. You got the rookie, you got Angel Reese, Miss Me Too. All of the stars are here, and look at this news. The get-in price for the WNBA All-Star Game in Indianapolis has dropped 48% from $121 to just $64 after news broke that Caitlin Clark won't be playing. Uh-oh, spaghetti.
As the horn sounded, Lexy stepped to the rack with ice in her veins, each shot ripping clean through the net with pure confidence. Every swish had the Indianapolis crowd on their feet, screaming her name, and for a moment, it felt like this was her city, her night. Even without Caitlin Clark, the Fever was still making noise on the biggest stage. Fans online went wild, flooding comment sections with praise for Hull, with many calling her a hidden gem finally getting her shine. Courtside, Caitlyn, dressed in street clothes, stood and applauded every rack Lexy cleared, a show of respect that gave everyone chills. By the end of the contest, Lexy hadn't just filled a spot, she had created a moment of her own, proving she belonged among the league's elite shooters. From heartbreak to spotlight, this was her statement. She was more than ready for the big time. When the scores came in, the arena held its breath. Lexy Hull had finished second overall, just one shot shy of winning it all. The crowd exploded, chanting her name like she had just hit a game winner in the finals. For a player who wasn't even supposed to be there, it was a breakthrough moment that stamped her as one of the league's deadliest shooters. Social media lit up instantly, with fans calling her the silent sniper and saying she earned her flowers in one night, while national analysts who had barely mentioned her before were now posting clips of her form with captions like textbook perfection. Caitlin Clark, still sidelined and nursing her injury, had tears in her eyes as she hugged her teammate after the contest, telling reporters with a smile, "Lexy held it down for us tonight," a quote that instantly went viral. Two teammates, bonded by respect, heartbreak, and an unshakable drive to win. The story had flipped. Instead of the weekend being about Clark's absence, it became about Hull's arrival, one moment of opportunity rewriting her season and maybe even her career. Leaving the media asking the question, was this the birth of a new star?
Story we have been following throughout the past 2 days surrounds the superstar herself, Caitlin Clark, the WNBA star, the Indiana Fever star, Caitlin Clark. She's going to miss all the action on the court.
Sports shows replayed Lexy Hull's flawless stroke on repeat, debating whether she could become a permanent face of the Fever alongside Caitlin Clark. Fans jumped in with their hot takes, some joking, "Caitlin's the queen, but Lexy's the sniper." Social media exploded with side-by-side highlight reels comparing their shooting styles, and one viral post summed it up perfectly: Clark's range, Hull's precision. Fever got to assassins. The narrative had completely shifted. What was supposed to be a weekend about Caitlin's heartbreaking absence had turned into a showcase of the Fever's incredible depth. Caitlin herself took to Instagram after the contest, sharing a photo of her hugging Lexy with the caption, "Proud is an understatement." She earned that moment. That post racked up hundreds of thousands of likes within hours. But behind the celebration, one big question loomed: how long would Caitlin be out? The Fever needed their superstar for the playoff push, and fans were desperate for updates. This injury wasn't just a personal hurdle for Clark. It had the entire franchise holding its breath. While Lexy's star was rising, all eyes turned back to Caitlin. How serious was her injury? Could she return before the playoffs? Team doctors stayed quiet, offering only vague updates like, "She's progressing well, but there's no timetable yet," leaving fans anxious and media outlets spinning theories. Some insiders claimed the Fever were considering shutting her down early to protect her long-term health, while others believed she'd fight through the pain to be there when it mattered most. The debate exploded online: rest her for the future, or play her if she can walk. Meanwhile, Indiana kept winning just enough to stay in the playoff picture, thanks to players like Hull stepping up. But the truth was clear: they needed their superstar. Without Caitlin at full strength, could the Fever really make a run? Finally, Clark broke her silence with a short but powerful statement: "I'm doing everything I can to be back when it matters most. Trust me, I'll be ready."
We shall never know peace, at least when it comes to the WNBA space. It was this ad that Angel put out, and I don't know if this is part of a larger campaign where it's going to be similar themes in similar places, but because of where the WNBA All-Star Game is, and because of who plays on the Indiana Fever in the home city of the WNBA All-Star Game, it's going to raise some eyebrows.
This wasn't about who scored the most points or who walked away with the trophy. It was about something far bigger. It was about how they stood for each other when life hit hard. The Indiana Fever didn't just play as a team. They moved like a family, standing shoulder to shoulder through both pain and triumph. Caitlin Clark was determined to come back stronger after healing up. Lexy Hull stepped into the three-point contest carrying both excitement and a heavy heart. Sophie Cunningham remained the fire, the protector, and the emotional anchor, keeping everyone focused and lifted. They weren't just teammates, they were sisters. These were women who showed up for each other when it mattered most, who lifted one another up when life tried to knock them down. That unity struck fans deeply. It wasn't stats or highlight reels that stole hearts, it was the love, loyalty, and courage they displayed when it counted. In a world obsessed with wins and losses, this moment reminded everyone that sometimes the biggest victories don't happen on the scoreboard. They happen off the court when friendship and love win over everything else. The Indiana Fever aren't just loaded with talent, they're powered by something much deeper: heart. That heart was on full display when Sophie Cunningham and Lexy Hull stood by Caitlin Clark, and when all three stood by each other through pain, loss, and pressure. This isn't just basketball. This is family in motion. The way they protect one another, celebrate each other, and refuse to let life's hardest hits break them is changing the way people see the game itself. Sophie Cunningham's message to Lexy Hull: "No, Lex, I'm so sorry," hit like a punch to the chest. It wasn't just condolences. It was pure, unfiltered care. You could feel the pain through the screen. In that moment, it became clear this was something rare in pro sports: a sisterhood as real as it gets.
WNBA's All-Star game went down 36%. That is a lot. That's more than a third from last year. Last year was over 3.4 million people, and it went down to 2.1. Now, you could say is a success. Yeah, for a women's sport, that is still a lot of people. But at the same time, it really isn't a success, because think about it. It's the only sport playing. It's the only game that's going. And you only could draw that. So, and this is with all the...
In a league built on competition and constant pressure, the Indiana Fever had forged something stronger than wins and stats: a bond that felt like family. Lexy Hull's loss reminded everyone that behind the highlight reels are real people with real pain, and the outpouring of support proved it. Sophie Cunningham, one of the WNBA's toughest defenders, showed her softer side, standing by her teammates when life hit hard. She'd already proven her loyalty earlier in the season when Caitlin Clark took a brutal foul. Sophie was the first to charge in, ready to defend her star rookie. That viral moment didn't just earn her fan praise, it cost her a league fine. But Sophie didn't care. She'd go to war for her teammates, no hesitation. That fearless loyalty made fans see her as more than a gritty defender. She was the Fever's protector, the big sister guiding rookies like Clark and Hull through a league that often eats newcomers alive. The bond grew so strong that fans gave the trio a name: Tres Leches. Sweet like the dessert, tough enough to handle anything. Sophie even leaned into it, rocking a custom shirt with cartoon versions of all three players, a design that went instantly viral. Tres Leches wasn't just a nickname anymore. It had become a movement, a symbol of unity, loyalty, and sisterhood.
It was just a good play on the basketball. I'm not sure what the refs saw to upgrade it, and that's up to their discretion after watching the initial whatever happened during the play and then whatever happened.
Whether they were celebrating big wins, pushing through tough losses, or standing shoulder to shoulder during life's hardest moments, this bond was unshakable. Tres Leches wasn't just about basketball, it was about family.